Have you ever stopped to think about how a self-driving car can actually, like, see the road and everything around it, or how your phone can pick your face out of a crowd in a photo?
Yeah, it's pretty wild when you stop and think about it. It's like these machines can actually see in a way.
Exactly. And that's what we're diving deep into today, computer vision. We're going to be looking at computer vision, how AI sees and interprets the world, to figure out how AI is able to actually understand what it's looking at.
Because it really is more than just seeing, right? It's
Yeah.
about processing and interpreting that visual information. Like, how does a computer even start to make sense of a scene like our brains do so effortlessly?
Right. So let's start there. What's the first step in this whole process?
Well, the very beginning is just raw data, like pixels in an image or the individual frames in a video. And then algorithms come in to analyze these pixels.
Okay, so algorithms, what are they actually doing with all those tiny little dots of color?
They're looking for changes in color intensity mainly. That's how they start to figure out where the edges and boundaries of objects are.
So it's kind of like the computer is sketching out the scene in its mind, right? Just the basic outlines first.
Yeah, you could think of it that way. And even this, like this very first step, it requires some pretty complex math to make sure it's filtering out stuff that's not important and focusing on the right changes in the pixels.
So it's not just passively taking in all the colors, it's actively searching for these transitions and changes. That's pretty cool.
Right, it is. And then it gets even cooler because then you have more sophisticated algorithms that come in. And these guys start identifying patterns and features based on those basic shapes and edges. We're talking corners, curves, textures, all the things that make up the objects we see.
Okay, so now it's like moving from just outlines to understanding the, I guess, the building blocks of an object.
Uh,
So how does it go from there to like actually recognizing that it's looking at a cat, for instance?
Well, that's where machine learning comes in, and specifically deep learning.
Oh yeah, I've heard of deep learning. That's the one with like neural networks, right?
Exactly. So neural networks are, they're these computational systems, and they're kind of inspired by the way our brains work. They learn by being fed huge amounts of data. Like with the cat example, you need millions of pictures of all kinds of cats in different positions, different lighting.
So basically you're just showing it tons and tons of cat pictures and saying this is a cat, this is a cat, this is a cat over and over again.
Yeah, essentially. And the network adjusts itself based on the feedback it gets. Like it's constantly tweaking its internal connections and getting better at recognizing cats.
So the more cat pictures it sees, the better it gets at identifying a cat when it sees a new one.
Exactly. And the amazing thing is, the system figures out by itself which features are the most important for recognizing a cat. We don't have to tell it, look for pointy ears or look for whiskers.
That's a huge difference from how they used to do it, right? Like before, someone had to actually program all those specific features into the system manually.
Yeah, it was way more time consuming and less effective. So this ability for the AI to learn on its own is a massive leap forward.
So that's how it works with still images. But our source also talks about video. And I imagine processing video adds another layer of complexity, right? Because now you got movement to deal with.
Absolutely. With video, you're not just looking at a single image, you're looking at a sequence of images, those frames, happening over time.
So how does computer vision handle that?
Well, basically, it analyzes how those frames change over time. And that allows it to understand motion and to track an object as it moves through the scene. Like imagine a person walking or a car turning a corner.
Okay, I'm starting to see how that could work. But is it really able to understand that it's a person walking, or is it just recognizing that, something is changing position in the frame?
It's getting pretty good at actually interpreting actions and events. And what's even more fascinating is some algorithms can actually predict where something is going to move based on how it's moved in the past.
Wow, so it's like it can anticipate what's going to happen next just by looking at the patterns of motion. That's incredible.
Yeah, it is. And that opens up a whole lot of possibilities for how computer vision can be used.
Definitely. So I think we've covered a lot of ground here. It's clear that computer vision is allowing AI to do some pretty amazing things. Essentially, it's giving machines the ability to actually perceive and understand the visual world just like we do.
Right. It's not just about capturing images anymore. It's about making sense of them, extracting information, and even making predictions based on what's being seen.
And as our source points out, This has tons of applications in the real world, from things like medical imaging, where AI can help doctors detect problems that might be missed by the human eye, to manufacturing, where it can be used to ensure quality control on production lines.
Exactly. And I think that's what's so exciting about this field. It's not just theoretical. It's already having a real impact on our lives, and it's only going to become more prevalent in the future.
I totally agree. So next time you see a self-driving car on the road, or you unlock your phone with your face, or, even just scroll through social media and see those targeted ads, remember that computer vision is at work behind the scenes. It's changing how we interact with technology and with the world around us.
And it makes you wonder, where will it go from here?
Yeah.
What other ways will AI learn to see and interpret the world in the years to come?
Yeah.
And how will that shape our future?
Yeah, it's definitely something to think about.